In this video we're going to try and avoid the usual chaos that we find at Monza to bring home a podium finish here in the next round of the FIA Manufacturers Series. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you do not miss a thing. In today's race we're back at Monza. Now we've got 11 laps, we're in Group 4 and we are in the checkered Lexus. Now after following my usual strategy in qualifying, we find ourselves in 7th on the grid. So that's not too bad here. Although we're towards the mid-pack, which can be chaotic going into turn number 1, we are hoping, and our goal for this one is going to be a podium finish. There we are then, door number 4 as we're about to get away here. Just waiting for the countdown, but we should, and I hope we're going to get a good result here at one of my favourite tracks on the game. So just going through the menus there, just going to go and put on that radar which we're going to need for turn number 1 down in Rettifilo here. The good thing about this Lexus is that it is decent in a straight line, so it should give us a bit of an advantage at this type of track. So we're coming down to probably the most dangerous turn 1 in the game. I'm going to move to the inside here. Whilst it will compromise my entry speed, the name of the game is just not to get murdered in this first corner. Keep your eye on the radar there as we come in. Yep, there's always one. BFR comes crashing into the side of me, but luckily it's not game over. We do get a slight SR down, but nothing major. It could have been much worse. So now we've negotiated that, it is time to move on to probably the most dangerous turn 2 in the game now. And in my excitement, I'm almost just going to run a little bit deep here, and I've really got to try and stop myself from going on to the track. Go as deep as humanly possible, but I couldn't afford to get a penalty there, especially here around Monza. There's going to be contact as I make my way right round that sausage, and I'm down to 8th place. Now my elbows were out, but they needed to be. But overall, okay with coming out of those first 2 corners in 8th place. Now I want to know from you guys, what do you think is the worst turn 1 in the game in your view? I personally think it's Monza, and when I say worse, I mean bad for action, as in crashes, dive bombers, etc, etc. For me, I think it's got to be Monza. There's a couple of other ones up there, but it's got to be Monza for me. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. I'd be interested to hear your view. So as we come down the back straight here, down towards the final curve of the Parabolica, I'm going to try and get a good run here on the car in front. So in front we've got a BMW, which in a straight line, to be honest, is absolutely no match for this Lexus in the Group 4. We're just going to drive straight past him here. But what's important is I've got to pick my braking point by the time we get down to Rettifilo. So I'm going to pick my braking point here, come all the way down from 7th gear. I'm just about to get it stopped, and we're going to make the pass there to move up to 7th place. Now up ahead there's a big gaggle of cars. Now you know what that means. It means as they battle, they're going to get sucked straight towards us. Now I even took a second out of them in that last braking zone to turn number 1, so I'm going to anticipate that we'll be back with them very shortly. So we've come through the second chicane here, and as we come into Lesmo number 1, they're going to go too wide. Someone's going to hit the wall there, and it's going to concertina everybody up. So I'm going to think about a move into Degner 2 here, think better of it, because we just don't want to chuck it up the inside there, because it will end up just compromising our speed the whole way down the back straight here towards Ascari. So I tuck back in, and up in front we're going to see that someone is about to get a penalty. So as we come into Ascari here, something happens. I don't know what it is, whether it's contact or somebody has gone off track or something like that. Either way, we're going to see as we come through the gate that somebody is going to be serving a penalty. I'm going to avoid him there because as we saw in Monza, no, it wasn't Monza, it was Suzuka the other time out, we actually almost had a huge crash as somebody unghosted right in front of us. So as we come through Parabolica again here at the end of lap number 2, we're going to be right behind the sister Lexus, which also will benefit from good straight line speed. We're all in a long train here, all benefiting from the slipstream, so I'm going to pull out coming down into turn number 1 just to avoid contact. It's going to show that this was a wise move as the Lexus hits the Jag as we come into the first corner here. It's going to pull us alongside, but thankfully no real issues. We both get through there without a problem, and we're going to head down and round Curva Grande absolutely flat out. As we make our way down into the braking zone for Regia, we're going to close right up under braking. It's just that concertina effect again. Everybody braking earlier than they should just to avoid contact, as I had to do there. But we didn't lose too much time, thankfully, as we head down into Lesmo number 1. So I'm going to try and just stay as close as I can here, hoping for a good run out of the second Lesmo. So coming down here, pick our braking point, trying to use as much curve as possible, a little bit of a slide but not too much of an issue, and we're going to get a good run down the straight here. So as we come under the bridge, I try and sell him a dummy, but he doesn't buy it. So the only option here is to brake early into Ascari, again thinking all about the exit speed and preparing a move down at the back straight into Parabolica, or even as far away as the first corner. So again, we're in the slipstream here. He's going to go defensive, so I'm going to try a different move, one I haven't done before, and I'm going to try and hang it round the outside of the Parabolica. Now he's going to do a good job here by not running too wide and hitting us. We're side by side here, but I managed to keep the momentum, and it looks like we're going to be able to make a decent move coming across the line here. As we've managed to carry more speed through Parabolica, it's going to give us a better run down the front straight, and I'm just going to move to the inside now that I'm clear to defend that inside line coming into Retta Filo. The yellow flags are out up ahead, 2 people end up in the gravel, and a 5-second penalty is dished out to the Merc in third. Now that is an absolute devastator around here. Any hopes of a good finish for him are just over now after that. So that's why you've just got to be really careful just to not get them. I'm going to come in hot again, but I managed to just about hang on here. I lose a little bit of time, but I think I get away with it as we make our way down to Degner 1. God, these are really some of my favourite corners in the entire game. Not so much Degner 1, but definitely Degner number 2. You can just throw it in here, and if you get it right, you can control the slide on the way out and get a really good run coming down the back straight here down towards Ascari. So as I said, feels really nice when you get it right. The Jag is going to go defensive knowing that we're right behind him here, and we know up ahead that the Merc is going to be serving his penalty shortly. So we're going to come through Ascari to try and keep it nice and tight as we did on the last lap, because we're looking to make a move either into Parabolica or into the first corner. As I ghosted through that guy, or as we went through the ghosted guy, I actually missed a gear there, which allowed the Jag to get away. I was just worried about him unghosting on us again. But meanwhile, the Jag has gone deep into Parabolica, and we're going to get a wonderful tow down the front straight away here as we start lap number 5. So as we pull alongside here, all I'm thinking about now is where my braking point is. Because we were in the slipstream, we have to brake a little bit earlier to get this thing stopped. So as we come down into Rettifilo for the first time here, we make the move stick. We're now up into third, and this is going to be our in lap. I've learnt from last time out at Autopolis, where when we're on an odd number lap race, I'm going to come in earlier rather than later, because last time out, as you saw, I absolutely had my race ruined by the fact that I stayed out one lap too late. So I'm not going to make that mistake again here, and we're going to come in at the end of this lap, lap number 5. Rejoining the action here towards the end of the lap, just coming out of Parabolica, we're going to peel off the racing line and jump into the pits. So just new boots for us here, no fuel required in this one, and I'm going to come out in what will eventually be 9th place. I'm going to be a gentleman here and stay within the white lines, unlike the Brit behind, and we're going to find that we've been overtaken by a few guys who are still out and presumably pitting at the end of this one. I can't see anyone trying hards for the whole thing. I think it would be pretty silly to try that because you're on the slower tyre, and by the end it will be worn anyway. So I imagine these guys will come in at the end of this lap, and I'm just hoping that they do not hold us up too much. So coming into the second chicane here, managed to get it stopped on these fresh new tyres, and we're really closing in on Fizzy 1979 in front. But thankfully he's not going to hold us up for long here, as he's going to go wide coming out of Degner number 1. So an easy enough pass, and we're now up into 8th place. So up ahead we have the Toyota here, and this is going to go to show exactly how good this car, the Lexus, is, the Group 4 one anyway, around Monza. We're going to see, as someone up ahead there has got a penalty, we're going to see the difference in speed here between these two cars. To be quite honest, I feel quite sorry for this guy in the Toyota here. We're just going to breeze absolutely right past him. OP fan, he's not OP in this one, as we make the move down into Parabolica and up into 7th place. Now as you can see, the people who hadn't come in are now beginning to come in. So they came in a lap later than us. It's going to be interesting to see where it's all going to pan out as these people come out of the pits. Second place there up ahead is going to come out, so it's going to be a drag race. Hopefully he stays within the lines. Yep, he does just about. And we're going to overtake him coming down into turn number 1, and we're going to find ourselves up in 2nd place. A really, really good rise from the 7th place where we started, and hopefully this should allow us to get the podium that we had hoped for. Now, Visual Crazy, he's in his own race. Sorry, not Visual Crazy, Veloce, I think it is. Anyway, Crazy up in front is in his own race. Bravo to you. And I'm going to try and get my head down, as I believe the Spaniard, who we came out just in front of there, although he's behind the Irishman at the moment, he's going to have fresher tyres, and the Irishman behind you would have just seen has a penalty, so that's going to free him up, and I imagine we're going to start getting some pressure from him reasonably soon. Jumping ahead slightly here to the start of lap number 8, as we put in the fastest lap of the race, the Spaniard, as you can see behind, is now ahead of the Irishman. So there's nothing between him and I anymore, apart from 2-ish seconds and 4 laps. Now, with his fresher tyres, as we mentioned before, the question is going to be here in these next 4 laps, can I hold him off to bring home this podium finish? Coming across the line here to start lap number 9, 3 laps to go, and he's now only 1.4 seconds behind. So as we come across the line here to start the penultimate lap, we can really see that the gap has come down. It's now only 0.8 seconds. As we come down into Rettifilo here for the penultimate time, take a look at the tyres. The racing softs that I've got on are really worn now, especially on that left hand side. Now unfortunately there's nothing brake bias can do. You can only adjust it forward and backwards. You can't adjust it side to side. If you could, that would be really weird. I wouldn't imagine how that would feel, or I couldn't imagine how that would feel. But with a clockwise circuit such as this, with long sweeping right-handers, it's pretty much inevitable that this is going to have an effect on the tyres. So all I can do here is try and hang on, try and remain as smooth as possible, and try and keep him behind, because as we mentioned at the start, well, actually it's probably not even him we need to worry about. I really want to hold onto this podium place. So as you can see, he's right behind us, and the outcome is probably already determined with this one. He's gonna pass. I'm gonna go defensive here anyway, coming into Ascari. Let's see. Nope, he's just going to drop off at this point. He also knows that we're really a sitting duck at this point as we come through the left-hander here at the end, and the likelihood is that he's going to be able to get a run on us down into Parabolica. Because those tyres are ruined on the left-hand side, it's going to be very difficult to get good traction out of here. So it's probably more likely that we're in a race for third rather than second. As we mentioned earlier, really struggling here for grip. I'm going to run wide, which is going to allow him through in the M4 there. I'm going to tuck into the slipstream as we come across to start lap number 11, just trying to hold onto this podium. Now I'm going to pull alongside the BMW here, and this isn't to try and make a pass, even though it does probably look like it, but I know with my more worn tyres that I'm going to have to brake earlier than him. So I knew the pass wasn't really on, so that's fine. I'm going to kick up a bit of gravel there as I come out of the first corner here, and just look at the traction he's going to get. He is absolutely gone. He's almost a second in front already, so our attention now on this final lap is going to turn to the Irishman in fourth behind. We're going to have to try and keep him behind if we're going to have any chance of stepping onto the podium today. But two of, in my view, the most difficult part of the tracks are behind us. So we've got rid of Rettifilo, and we've also got rid of Regia, and we're just coming past the first and second Lesmos here. We're going to be careful not to run wide out of Lesmo number 2, and the final two challenges we're going to have is Ascari and Parabolica. Now this is unfortunately where things are going to go a bit wrong for us. So I'm going to come in here, first part of Ascari, not a problem. It's the second part, just with these worn tyres, I'm going to end up cutting the track and getting myself a penalty, a 1 second penalty that obviously I can't serve because there's no gates between here and the end of the race. And as you can see, the Irishman is within 1 second of us. So in a cruel twist of fate here, having raced I think quite well, it's going to look like we're going to lose the place, and we're going to end up in fourth place as we cross the line here. Sadly, we didn't get the podium that we'd hoped, but still a good result. Having started in 7th, we get 1,570 championship points, and we also get a decent load of driver rating to boot. But for now guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.